everybody, and how are you doing? Today is February 29th, and it is a glorious, glorious time. You know, every Wednesday is a new and exciting thing that unlocks every Wednesday this month. Woo!
It's what day?
Wednesdays. You know, every Wednesday of this, have you not noticed every Wednesday of this week? And then something happened this Wednesday, and then who knew that gamers would actually kind of the whole idea of video games ruining America? It kind of happened. Whoa, what is it? You know what I mean? Because it's GameStop.
Wait, I thought you said February 29th. I'm pretty sure that we're still January.
We're in January. Okay.
Just keep going. You're doing great. Keep going.
I know what days are. It's not like I've been inside for a year.
I was like, what day is it? And you were like, Wednesday. I was like,
does anybody else remember that Brack song? What day is it? Could you please tell me?
It's neither Wednesday nor February, and I don't know how to stop you.
It's okay. It's fine. I'm
doing great. Keep going.
It's fun. But I guess it's just it's one of those days. I am obviously of right sound and mind. There's lots of unexpected things that are happening to a lot of folks. Like Derek, you have some surprising secret encounter unlocked, right?
Yeah, I have. I unexpectedly get the bonus of having to move in 2 months, so that's exciting. Packing up and moving and finding another place to live during the pandemic sounds like a fantastic pastime for me. So that'll be cool. That's kind of what I'm freaking out about right now.
Yeah.
You have so many books.
Yeah, I was thinking your books and having to pack that and ship it over.
Well, the past 2 times I've moved, we've gotten movers. And I cannot tell you enough. Because we never got movers when I was a kid. We never had the money for it.
Yeah.
But if you have as many books as I do, it is worth it to get movers and just pay and have it done. Oh my God.
Yeah. We had
you
movers.
could also use this.
When we moved from New York City, and they're just so good at it. That's the thing that you don't realize until you do it for the first time. They just grab your fragile stuff and wrap it in 15 pieces of paper, and they're just so fast with it. And if you do it yourself, it's 10 weeks later, you put all your books in one box and you can't carry it. No one can lift that box. And yeah.
I wonder if they just all played Tetris for a very long time and they're like, this is the career I want. I just want to be able to put it in a box.
Yeah.
The last time when I moved over here into this apartment, the guys came in and they were so wasted. They were so they were so high. It was, I could smell them before they got here. And I was that smell. And it was great. They were high. We were making jokes. They moved all of my stuff around. It was absolutely great. I agree with that. And then they offered to smoke me out. But yeah, movers. Really great.
That's actually a fun adventure. At least you always have a good story, out of it. Speaking of stories. Yeah, Seattle. What about you, Emma? What have you been catching up story-wise?
WandaVision comes out today.
WandaVision! Did you watch it? Have you been watching the episodes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I haven't yet.
There's only 3 episodes.
I know. But so just to let you know how far behind I am, we just started watching The Mandalorian.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm 5 episodes in.
Yeah, we chugged the Mandalorian beforehand because we also were very behind on shows, but we got that done just in time for WandaVision and started watching it, and it's great. I'm just bought into all this MCU.
See, the thing is stuff. I totally don't care about anything Avengers related, Wanda and the Vision. I just don't care. The MCU versions still don't care. But everybody has been saying so much good stuff about WandaVision that I definitely want to check. I'm planning on checking it out.
Okay, but you need to, and then okay. So I will say I'm very excited. I'm very excited because of the fact that each episode has Easter eggs, which is tying into a larger thing. So it's how am I going to have a conversation with you about oh, did you see like the reference to the Sokovia? And then when she did the lullaby, what that meant? And is Pietro coming back? And does this mean that the stork was Mephisto? And like, what does this mean? If you don't care about it, how am I supposed to get you? I want to talk to you about Marvel stuff.
Tell Marvel to make a good X-Men movie, and then I will be right there with you.
Derek, we've got to work through this trauma. We've got to work through this because I don't know when that's going to happen.
I just don't care about the Avengers. They're the cop team who runs around and doesn't help the mutants. So I'm sorry. They're on the poop list.
Wow. They're the poop list. There's a poop list.
This is not about you, Derek. This is about at Warcraft movie fan 8755.
Hey, no one can see that. No one knows what that means. And like just like I don't know the history. I haven't read the comics. Like y'all can boo me as much as I want, as much as you want, and you're not wrong. No, you're absolutely right.
There's no problem, but there is a big like
the Avengers comics
thing about.
So don't feel bad.
Well, there's a big thing about the House of M, and that's kind of like the big and what that's leading over into about how this is leading into mutants. And so every episode, there's kind of this kind of House of M thing, and you don't have to read the House of M. I'll just explain this to you later. Derek will yell at you about this.
We're gonna have a special stream. Isabel explains.
Phil reads the comics. Phil reads all the comics, and he tells me a little bit about it. And it's just like crazy stuff. Like there's the MCU, Quicksilver, right? And then there's like the mutant Quicksilver. They have like multiple versions of them, and now there's maybe like multiverse stuff. And exactly like you said, like. And I don't think this is a spoiler, sorry people, but like you're like Quicksilver coming back potentially, who died in Age of Ultron, and it's just like, just these cool it's comic books, characters.
Like, of course they're gonna figure out a way to do that. Like that's part and parcel of the whole thing. So and like
they hired Evan Peterson, who played Quicksilver in the Sony version of the X-Men, but Quicksilver in the MCU version of the X-Men was played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, who is a hottie. He is so hot. Have you seen him recently? He is a snack. Oh my God. And so there's so much going on, and I'm so excited for you. There's six more episodes, 5 more episodes, because there's 9 episodes or something like that. Every episode has something new. We've got to talk about it.
It's been great, so I really want to check it out.
And even I also don't think this is a spoiler. I'm trying to be really careful here, but like it's like Vision died obviously in the movie where he died.
Endgame?
The Endgame. Yeah, this is like Endgame, Infinity War. I always get them mixed up. But Vision like died, and they're alive together here. So it's even questions like that going into the show. It's not a spoiler. It's like is this
Let's
real?
talk about
is this
it.
Reality? Is this just this mini universe that Wanda has manifested where this stuff is happening? Like, can Vision exist outside of this little bubble? And I can't.
Yeah,
I don't.
And then they're like Wanda, who's doing this to you, Wanda? And is she like, what's going on with the sword? And Monica Rambeau, and she gets kicked. There's so much going on, Emma. I'm excited that you're into this, Derek. I need you to hop into this because it's there's a lot going on.
I will hop in. But it will always be from a Wanda, you've done some bad stuff to the mutants perspective.
Well, that's good. I think that's where they're leading it to. I really
hope
do.
So.
So get into it, Derek.
I did. There was a moment because I was trying to get my wife excited about it because I was like, "Here, watch this trailer. People say it's good. Should we watch it?" And she was like, "Who are these people? What are her powers?" And my answer was, "Yes."
Well, but that's the cool thing too. It's like it's about their characters. Like the powers, the way it's framed is very much like, or the way it starts is very much it's a 50s TV show with that. We've seen a million shows with this premise. It's like, haha, she's a secret witch. She has secret powers, and they're hiding it from the neighborhood. Haha, in the suburbs. Like that's the premise, and it doesn't matter like what the powers or anything. It's just like magic, and we're pretending it's not real and it's a joke. And then it goes from there.
So basically Isabella's calling us out. We need to have a very special WandaVision episode of TableTakes once all of us have caught up. Is that what's going on?
With spoilers plastered all over it. Where we just talk
spoilers, rave spoilers.
I want to talk about it. Yes. Let's do it.
I mean, you just are Isabella. Isabella is just excited about all things, right, Isabella? About what are you most excited? Most excited right now for?
Okay. So This is not table gaming news, but there are some big things that happen in the worlds of video games, video games, as my parents would say. The Resident Evil 8 demo came out recently, and there was a person in the trailer and the demo who stole America's hearts. My week has been nothing but stonks and big 8-foot tall vampire lady. As soon as I saw her, there's a point in the trailer and the demo where like she comes out the door and she has to like duck down, and she's and like the camera pans up and she's amazing, and I want her to smother me. I want her to wrap her just big lady thighs around me.
Twitter fan art, I have to say, Twitter fan art for this has been a gem. Like the number, like all those comics about like people running away and then like waiting for her and being like, oh no,
I've seen that. Oh
no, stop chasing me.
It's adorable, but I have to admit too that like every time I see the name spelled out and every time I see the video, I'm just like, which vampire clan? I mean, clearly the name suggests that it's a Zimus, but like the style, maybe a little bit like.
I need more information on her. I mean, all I know about her is that she's stacked for the gods, and she has Freddy Cougar hands.
I'm going to disappoint you right now. Resident Evil is probably not going to be a dating sim with her as much as you might like.
You don't know that, Derek. You don't know what I'm capable
there
of.
Could be mods. There could be mods.
There you
Listen,
go.
I have a Resident Evil 2 mod that definitely makes them a dating sim. It's
Did you hear?
Never mind.
Did you
Never
hear
mind.
about the cyberpunk mods that people were using to swap character models so they could have sex with the Keanu Reeves character?
Oh, God.
Oh my God, send that to me. I need more information about that for reasons.
Apparently, CD Projekt Red was like, "Could you please stop doing that, everyone? Please stop doing that."
That's the only reason why anybody played Cyberpunk, was to try to see if we could smooch Keanu Reeves. So,
oh boy,
clearly, yeah, no, the nerds. We've been obviously in quarantine for too long, and we need to escape. But the nerds lost it at the sight of this gigantic vampire woman, which, you know, honestly. Listen, as a 5'4" woman, I understand the like desire for like tall ladies, but we need to carry this energy that we have for tall vampire ladies into the real world. You need to, the next tall lady that you see, we need to appreciate real tall ladies in real life, because they don't get a lot of love. All right. But I do also want this tall vampire lady to sit on me. I want her to smother me. I want her to wrap me up in her body, and I want her to destroy me. I every time I see her, crimes. I think of just awful things inside of my head.
You know,
she
so you
triggers
see
something
this,
in my brain.
and then we have a vampire movie, and people are like, "It's so unrealistic that anyone would throw themselves at the vampire to be fed upon."
I want her to break my legs. I'm so sorry. She triggers something in my monkey brain. I don't know what it is. There's something primordial about it. But that's all my Twitter has been. It's just been destroy capitalism and destroy me, vampire lady. And that's been it. That's all I've been doing this.
I mean, that's a good solid feed. I also we'll just say we here at TableTakes approve of gigantic women. Yeah. So on that note, we could go ahead and let's just get into more like exciting news that has been happening. Like basically, let's go ahead and jump this off with a super awesome news. So hey, guess what? Tabletop games, board games, RPGs, set a new Kickstarter record for 2020. So people, if you don't, so Dicebreaker just came out with this article saying that tabletop games, to put in perspective, in 2020 on Kickstarter made about $236 million. That's record breaking. You know, people are like, people aren't playing games anymore. But now we just see that, despite this pandemic, tabletop gaming is thriving, that's racking over 60 million more than in 2019. I would try to read the number out, but me and numbers are just, so hold on, let me see. 236,629,466.
You conquered it. You conquered
Yeah,
it.
there you go. So it's a 33% growth from 2019. And to put in perspective that we basically have just found that in 2020, Tabletop accounted for about 1/3 of all money raised on Kickstarter. Yes, people can say like the big products, Frosthaven contributed 13 million, Nemesis Lockdown 7 million, Return of Dark Tower 4 million, but there's still this should be something for people who are small creators, more project, small people who are independent, who want to get into the scene in gaming, all of these new faces, new designs, about over 100 or 1,600 successfully raised $10,000 for their Kickstarter alone. That's just saying like, hey, there's new ideas going out there that are being promoted, and people wanted, hey, we need new stuff. This is also indicative that maybe zines are actually picking up as well. I want to kind of get some.
It's fantastic seeing a few like more smaller projects in addition to these huge blockbuster ones.
Yeah.
People often talk about how the big projects will bring people to the platform. It will filter out. I don't know if we can actually say that that's actually what's happening here, but whatever the reason, I'm glad to see more projects, more small projects, because if your budget's less than 10 grand, it's probably some weird little niche thing that you love and you found some other people who love it, and great. And then the fact that just there seem to be more successful projects. Apparently Tabletop has like a 70% success rate overall. And, the money in the tabletop project category, has grown by 33% from 2019. So it's pretty much just all good news, at least for tabletop on Kickstarter the past year.
Yeah.
There was a tweet that I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
There was just a tweet that I saw this last week by Miscellaneous at Shell_cats on Twitter that I really liked. And it says, buying board games is an act of radical hope and optimism. And I really love that tweet, because it's like this idea that like, despite the fact that so many people don't have money, don't have jobs, the fact that we're still investing into something that like we that is all about like getting together with your friends, and that we're still like, I'm going to buy this game now, despite the fact that I haven't seen my friends in over a year, because I hope one day to be able to spend time with them in the future. Am I making you upset?
No, you're
okay.
hitting me in the feels. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I can't
no, I'm sorry.
No, it's yeah.
I felt really inspired by that tweet, because of the fact that it really does say like the fact that board games have been so big this year, despite the fact that so many people have had economic challenges, to me is like there's a bigger, better future where we are all going to get back together and play games together. And I really I'm sorry, Emma. I'm so sorry.
No, I love it. This is good feels. It's
okay,
just
good.
Like,
good.
Strong, powerful, just like board games and hope. And
I mean, like that's not too dissimilar to how I feel about a lot of Kickstarters that I back. I mean, in a lot of ways, like I'm managing to kind of get that thrill of buying something. Like there's definitely that feeling of just spending money and getting a thing to make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
But I'm also doing it in support of somebody who otherwise wouldn't have gotten that project off the ground in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And like that makes it sweeter to me. Like that has definitely driven me to back like much smaller, weirder campaigns sometimes than I might have picked up on the store if they were just on the shelf.
Yeah. It's interesting being in the creator groups for a while now. There's been some rumbling of, Kickstarters only for like the $1 million things. And if you don't do the right stuff, or if you don't have a huge following, you're never going to succeed. And you need to do certain things, as with anything, you can't just throw it up there and hope that people are going to find it. But I think what it really says is you can build your niche communities. You can put weird stuff up there. You do have to do some work to get it done, but this just shows that so many people, it's not just the huge people blowing Kickstarter up with their $1 million games that are succeeding. There's creators, we have the numbers for the $10,000 level, but even the $1,000 level, you know, just the $2,000 level, there's definitely people who are blowing up in their own ways. There's people who did a $500 goal and raised $8,000, you know, and just seeing people succeed beyond their expectations at every level has been very heartwarming.
Yeah, I've taken all the money that I make from Gen Con and I put it right into Kickstarter. So everything.
Love to see it.
There you go.
I blame Derek.
Science sweet. Yeah.
Even better if we can just make it whatever Kickstarters we covered that week too.
Yeah.
It really has been.
Yeah.
It really has been that every single week I'm just like, well, these are 8 more Kickstarters that I'll be backing this week. And so, yeah.
Love to see it.
There's the retail therapy shopping thing. Like, we can't do that either, right? Like, we can't play games with our friends. We also can't go out to a store and just buy something. I mean, depending on the situation, but from places, I go to the grocery store sometimes, and that's where I get my retail therapy. I'm like, beans. I got beans, and just
quarantine needs to end. We need to get out.
I know, the grocery. I'm just like a cantaloupe, a pineapple. Look at this pineapple. Don't you love this? Like, it's gonna taste so good. It's tough to go to board game stores, local game stores. Clothes shopping is not a thing really. But so yeah, there's definitely the satisfaction, even though you're not going to get it for a while. You have that same dopamine hit of transferring money for goods.
But no, it is like, I also will say that I have spent more than I had the previous year on Kickstarters this year. We just like, especially for some of those like one shots, or not one shots, but like solo RPG kind of games.
Yep, exactly.
I've just basically, because you know, we don't have ability to meet up with everybody, so you just kind of do solo RPGs all by yourself. But yeah, no, this is just really fun to see, and we can see what more stuff has to come. But this is just looking like, even though yes, there is, I think this is just a way for us to express our love for, because we can't go to our local friendly gaming store. But this is another way that we can still siphon, you know, that money, so we can still have this in the future. It's kind of like an investment, like, please stay around. Do not go away if I just shove more money at you, please.
It is. Kickstarter is, if you do it at a high enough volume, which is perhaps inadvisable, but at a certain point, Kickstarter becomes you buying a surprise present for future you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you will absolutely not keep up with what is being shipped, and a package will arrive, and you'll be like, "What the hell is? Oh, look at that!
I got a game."
I remember this thing. And I also want to say that a lot of Tabletop has adapted very well. A lot of the projects, they'll have Tabletop simulator versions. They'll make just a great digital version. My friend's game, Cascadia, that finished its Kickstarter recently, they just had a digital version of the game that was great. You know, they got a developer just to make a simple web-based thing, and it was super fun. People are doing a lot of print and plays. For the role-playing games, they'll have a PDF. They'll even have a PDF that they send like a week after the thing is over. So they have the thing available in whatever way that you want to get it. So I think that they're adapting really well to the situation too.
Very cool. Well, I mean, Emma, you have also some like cooler related news for more of this hype train going up. Let's go see. Let's spread that love. What's news do you have about a new studio?
New studio. I'm super excited about this because this is a bunch of people who I know personally, just really love, think are amazing people, or people that I've bumped into and are also amazing people. So this is Isaac Vega and Lindsay Rode are making a new studio called Rose Gauntlet. You might have seen the announcements on Facebook and on Twitter. Isaac Vega, of course, left Plaid Hat and became independent in a game, is creator of such things as Ashes of Alar. Sorry, is that right? Not Ashes of Alar. That's a magic card. Ashes is just the game. And Dead of Winter. Some of their playing games include Keystone North America, a card game co-created by Vega and Jeffrey Joyce. Biologists trying to grow an interconnected ecosystem. Life After Dungeon, RPG co-designed by Vega and Rhodes. Co-op dungeon crawl focusing on action and emotion. described as touching. I remember what Ashes of Alar now is. It's a Warcraft thing, and I inserted that right into there, and I apologize for that because it's completely unrelated. But yeah, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, it's, you know, new studios in normal times are created all the time. Studios appear, studios disappear. Usually there's a lot of kind of growth in this area. We haven't seen as many over the last year. You know, I think studios in a lot of cases are consolidating. People are probably staying where they are to a larger degree because it's riskier right now to go out and do new things. Conventions are usually a huge way that people will promote a new studio and new games from a studio. So it's cool to see this, people taking this chance and like still, it feels like a flower breaking out of the snow, right? Where they're just, and it's Rose Gauntlet too. So it's very appropriately themed. And also, Danny Plays Games, who I'm a huge fan of and who makes amazing joy across Twitter and across the internet, is doing the social media for them. So it's just all these amazing people coming together. I love it, and I can't wait to see more of it in the future.
Yeah, that's just very exciting. Yeah, we have to just see how this new company like, you know, presents itself, what new things, what new breath of fresh air they come about. On other news, we need to have our let the spice flow, Derek. We need our weekly Dune game announcement.
Our weekly Dune game announcement, just
Yeah.
get under
Dune
Isabella's
games,
skin.
No,
So-
it doesn't get under my skin. It's just I can't. I'm inundated with the spice. My eyes are glowing bright blue, and I can't. Worms are everywhere.
So you're saying that you're lost in a great desert of Dune games that stretches to the horizon and you don't know what direction to travel in? Well, follow me, traveler. Follow me, for I have seen the future, and that future is us playing the Dune board game together and having fun.
Wait, which
board
Dune
game?
board
We don't know yet. We'll figure that out when we get there. But so there's a new announcement of a new Dune board game. Like we've talked about the re-release of the old Dune game. We also talked about our excitement about Dune Imperium, which I still have not had a chance to play, but Bonsai did play and said it was good.
Wait,
So
it is good.
Officially Bonsai approved.
I've played this deck builder, right?
Yep, the deck.
Yeah, I've
builder
played it
worker
3
placement
times
one.
now. 3 or
Oh,
4
look at that.
times.
See, I told you it's good.
Would you give it a seal of approval?
I
Oh.
would, again, we've talked about this before, so I don't think it comes as a shock, but I am not big into the Dune IP. I apologize if that hurts anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
My feelings hurt. I don't understand.
It's okay. Our dynamic is I like Dune, you like World of Warcraft. So
yeah, well, World of Warcraft doesn't go and like murder babies off screen.
Oh,
sure
that's
that?
right. The murder babies thing.
That's
Yeah,
my whole
babies.
thing. Honestly, it caught as a young, small baby child reading all this like happy adventure science fiction and fantasy books. And I'm like, yeah. And like, we're fighting and we're winning, like all this like high fantasy. And I read this book. I'm like, this is cool. And then they did that and it broke my heart. And I just never recovered from that.
I just say when the movie comes out, okay, I have 2 things that are going to change your mind. 2 words that are going to change your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Timothy Chalamet. That boy is gonna his face is gonna heal you, Emma. I swear, I
Oscar
promise
Isaac?
you. 2 more words.
Momoa?
Oscar Isaac. 2 additional words. Jason Momoa. And they're all just gonna heal you. And so,
Yeah, but then their baby's gonna die.
But the
All those
costuming,
people.
the costuming looks so good in the
So-
trailer. You don't know.
So Emma,
Like,
that's
how do you even do that? It's like, oh yeah, and then you have the scene where the baby, and they're like, oh, it's hope embodied in this baby, and they look at each other and they're happy,
Yeah.
and then they're like sitting around at a war council. It was like, hey, your baby's dead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, see? They'll heal it. Every time you watch the movie, they'll heal your heart so it can break afresh and new, and you can enjoy that experience each time.
You just can't.
In vaguely tangentially related news, there's a new Dune game that's been announced. Portal.
Dune Imperium is a fun game. Sorry.
Portal Games had an online event recently, their like PortalCon thing, And at it, they announced a series of Dune games. And the first one is called Dune House Secrets. And the really intriguing thing to me is they don't have a whole lot of details yet, but they did say that it's using the same system that they use for the detective board games. And I don't know if anybody else has had a chance to play those, but they're actually kind of a neat, fun, activity to do with a group. It's not a board game in the traditional sense of you're figuring out the mechanics and the rules and stuff like that. It's very much like it's like Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, if anybody's played that game. It's a much simplified version of that. But you've got a deck of cards. Each one of those deck of cards is like a scene or a lead you can follow up on. And doing so will usually open up some other leads. Sometimes you have skills you can use to crack open a lead and get additional information. And there's a website that you use, one of the players is designated the website user, and then they can search for stuff on the special website they have. They can enter the clues you've gotten, that'll sometimes give you additional clues. So Detective is a very neat, light, deduction game. In the end, you basically have to answer who committed the crime, why did they commit it, how did they commit it, stuff like that. And you get points based on how well you answer. And every time I've played with everybody I've played with, we're well, we know the crime happened because we found the we're real bad at that game, but it's a ton of fun. So what I'm really curious about is how they're going to adapt that mystery game to Dune.
It was Dune the Harkonnens with the spice.
Harkonnens with fit. Yep, it might be the duel with Sting. That's true. Probably
oh my God, not. When he's in those briefs, I hope they bring that back for the movie. I really
it would be amazing.
Desperate for that.
They're gonna apply it more to the Jenny Bezu. How do you pronounce it again?
Jenny Bezu.
Yeah, a kind of approach of deduction. That might be how the path they go.
Absolutely, it could do that. My other thought was, Dune, the series, is all about conspiracies and action and plots. So, I wonder, are we going to be making those plots, or what if we play the spy master for Paul or something like that, and it's our job to investigate our rivals and get the clues and the information that they would use in the novels or the movies. I don't know. Maybe that's the way they go.
You should work in games. Get some ideas.
All these ideas.
I'll come up with the ideas, and then you can do all the actual hard work of making it a real game.
But on other related news to get excited about, Emma, what have you got brought for us today?
Kaldheim! Magic the Gathering new set release, always a fun and exciting time. This one is Vikings, has a very metal aesthetic to it, so if you like that and appreciate that, we got our Vikings, we got our elves, we got our zombies, and of course snow and ice. So put those together, zombies and snow and ice, is kind of exactly what you would think they would be. I think there's a little bit a vibe to it. You're just
this was the set that they actually got heavy metal bands and musicians to preview some of the cards for, to leak some of the cards way back when.
They had they also had the Seattle Sounders preview a card because it was a Kraken, right? And the Kraken, no, not the Sounders, sorry, the Seattle Kraken, the new hockey team. They got them to preview a card because it was a Kraken. So that was very clever for them. I love how they're pulling in people from all sorts of different directions.
Yeah, I know. Not to say, I kind of with the Seattle Krakens. I'm not gonna lie. This is how it's been in my head for to get me into sports. Yeah, haha. I just really want to see another hockey team be occultists. So one side we have people dressed up like Cthulhu-esque with instead of finger arms, they have tentacles, and the other side we have occultists in hoods with fake daggers. So Like, does that not seem like the greatest scenario of like the best game I would like to be a part of?
It does.
That's actually how you play hockey. That's one team is the occultist, the other team is the eldritch monster, and they fight each other. That's how the game of hockey is actually played. Yeah, I've seen hockey. That's it. That's how you play the game.
I played hockey. That's definitely how it works. Yep.
Yeah. See, Kraken, you just gotta listen to this.
This is all I want.
I have to say that Bonsai, that does make me wish that all sports teams dressed up like their mascots instead of just having mascots.
Yeah.
The whole team.
Yeah. Can you imagine a whole team? What is Grim? Oh my God, what's his name? My favorite mascot, who's a symbol of Gritty.
Oh, Gritty.
An entire team of Gritties. I would absolutely love that. Gritty. I don't know anything about sports. What I've learned this week is I don't know anything about anything. I don't understand the stock market. I don't understand sports. I don't know what's going on about anything. All I know is WandaVision and X-Men. That's all I do. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Emma, you can go. I just wanted to.
Sorry. No, this is great. I am here for this. I love it. In addition, we also have changelings, which are back. I had kind of glossed over snow. I don't know how much I want to get into the weeds, but it's basically they just made a snow island and it has no downsides. It's just a basic land. So basically snow lands are just better. That you can't put forests in your deck anymore because you might as well just put a snow forest in there. So it kind of breaks lands. There's like a tiny little
is this different?
downside.
Is this different from Ice Age when like there was just like snow walk, like a snow forest still gave you green mana, but was just snow covered. So
yeah.
A card that would key off of snow covered would apply, or does it do something different?
So you can tap a snow land to give you like the mana it's generated from it is snow. So there's cards that want that. They're like one and snow, and then it has a special effect to it. It's just like just kind of the thing I mentioned. Like usually you just throw a bunch of basic forests into your deck and you call it a day, right?
So
but this one
you're sad that now there's a reason for you to pay attention to what land you put in your deck?
Well, no, you have. It's kind of forcing you to put in snow forests. Like I just want to put like there's a million different arts and stuff for forests because it's been around forever. So it's like, I honestly like putting in for the visuals, right? Like, I got all these different forests, but now if you don't, it's kind of like slightly mechanically worse to put in a card that's just a regular forest over a snow forest. So it's just this weird like magic min-maxing thing to it. But the fact there is snow in there and you can like do stuff and it cares about it, there's a lot of fun mechanics to play around that. So that is kind of cool. They also have Foretell, which is a pretty cool mechanic where you pay 2 mana to put a card face down on the battlefield. And at a later time, you can pay the Foretell cost to flip it face up and do the effect for it.
So is the effect that you get to shout that you triggered my trap card?
Yeah. That is one of the effects mechanically in the cards that is described in there. But it's a million different things where it's a creature or it's a counter spell or it's a sorcery that you can cast. There's a lot of in paper magic. I can see just like looking at your cards, like, what the heck did I play? What is the thing? It does seem a little bit overwhelming, but new set, super cool. It's always fun to see all the new mechanics that came out. I started drafting it and I'm excited to play and continue to see how the drafting for that feels.
Very, very cool. Now, we're going to go ahead and take a moment to pause a little bit because here at TableTakes, we want to talk about something serious. Oh, wait, no. Am I skipping? No, I'm not skipping.
Magic Arena is on mobile.
Oh, sorry. JK, roll it back. Emma, tell us more about Magic,
So in addition to the new set literally just coming out, Magic Arena has just come to mobile yesterday. So kind of dropping a lot of us on us all at the same time. This is exactly what you think it was. They literally took all of Magic Gathering Arena from desktop and shoved it whole cloth into mobile phones. And I mean, you can kind of imagine what you think that would be like, and it is exactly that. I mean, you can I drafted a deck on my desktop. I can pick up my phone, play the games there. I can make decks there. It has, this app has everything, for better and for worse. You know, I would say consistency is important when you're going back and forth between platforms. It can be frustrating if an app, you're like, oh, I want to do this, and the app doesn't do that. On the flip side, though, it is large. It took me like an hour to download this app, and I have very good internet and a pretty good phone. It's about 2 years old. It's only on Android right now. And often I think it's syncing is what happened, because when I went to the desktop and back to my mobile app, it would take some time to like re-download data. So I think it's getting the data from either of the platforms, again, which is fine. But for me, for mobile games, for that platform specifically, I really love it when I can just pick it up, and the faster I can be in the game, the better, you know. And this definitely has, when it's first loading, when you're going between screens, like a fair amount of lag. And I'm starting to get frustrated at that swirling, waiting for servers symbol.
But this is also like the beta. So,
yeah,
you know, like some of that's going to be there. Hopefully they will kind of see that and be able to optimize it a lot more before the full release, right?
Yeah. I think just like they have made announcements about this. They're definitely not, it's not like a closed beta. They put it out there, you know, and I think they have been very clear. They're like, hey, you're not going to be able to play this without pretty cutting edge hardware, and we did that on purpose. So they're not miscommunicating any of that, but I definitely know people are going to try it on their phones, even if they don't have the most cutting edge thing. Again, my phone's top of the line, and I think just like having those moments, because I was going to jump on there and just do a draft, right? I'm like, yeah, open it up, do a draft, and Phil suggested like maybe you should play against Sparky and do the demo games too. I'm like, oh gosh, yeah, I don't think I would want to, especially for a brand new set, you know. I don't know if I'd want to do a full draft on here, and especially the premiere draft, which is with real people and it's timed and you can't go back in that. So yeah, if you don't have cutting edge hardware, if you don't have cutting edge internet, I think it could be a little tough, and I'll wait to see how it goes. But I think right now it's important to see the limitations. I think on tablet, when it comes to tablet, I think it's going to be perfect to be able to play that on the sofa on a slightly larger screen. I think with the mobile, even just reading the cards and stuff, it's a little tough for me. So I think it's cool, but I can't 100% get behind it at this point.
I'm looking forward to it being on like iPad, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, like I said, we have to just wait. It's still in beta. Hopefully everything will get optimized, so we'll have less of the painful window wheel or the loading soon, you know. I feel like, yes, just as in terms of like we in this universe, or not this universe, where are we? We are people in America. Yes. First world problems with downloading. Remember when dial-up was a thing? That's all I'm going to say. But on a note that we're going to go ahead and take a more serious route on this one. Isabella, are you going to go ahead and tell us what basically happened this week? And, you know, some of it surprising, some of it, or not, most of it not surprising, but we just need to keep acknowledging the fact that things need to be changed in terms of the nerd culture here in the US and worldwide.
Yeah, so I know that we don't have a lot of time, and this is kind of a big issue to talk about, but if you were on Twitter this past week, you might have noticed that there was the harassment against a member of our community, a member of the tabletop community, Krystina Arielle. And you might know her from Motherland or Critical Role or Dimension 20. She is the new host of the Star Wars web series, The High Republic. And this last week, a person who I even hesitate to even use their name or even know what they're associated with, because of the fact that they are constantly doing just the most foul forms of harassment and behavior on the internet. There was an article that came out from Bounding Into Comics, which please do not give this site any clicks. Please, like, if you can find a site that like reroutes the links through, I would highly, highly encourage that. This is my own personal pleading with anybody that's listening to this, because the website does not deserve any clicks whatsoever. This is a woman Krystina Arielle, who's been working in the gaming industry, who has been the face of gaming for many, many years and has done so much to work on inclusivity, anti-racism, and diversity in the gaming community for years, tirelessly, with very little credit, with very little attention. And she, in the article, was accused of reverse racism, which is a myth. It does not exist. There is no such thing as reverse racism. Hold me to that. At me, I do not care. It does not exist.
Well, you're also right. So
yeah.
there's not much of an argument there.
I agree 100%.
Hot table takes. You're right.
TableTakes.
I mean, like, I know that there are still people out there, obviously, who believe in that, but like I also am about that life. So, so the article came out and it was accusing her of racism against white people for saying that white people are racist. And her tweets, which are really innocuous, first of all, her tweets, which are also based upon her own firsthand experience as a Black woman in America. And also her tweets are based off of the experiences of many, many people firsthand for centuries in this country, was met with unmitigated, cruel, dehumanizing harassment over this. They were trying to get her fired from her job at Star Wars. And they were basically trying to harass her off of the platform.
Well, it's just one of those ridiculous things of, like, all she said was that white people are racist, which they are. We are. Like, that is the problem with that we're making the rest of the world grapple with right now, basically. And that, inclusivity and inclusion and diversity are good, and that people should demand those things. And that when you are writing an article about a Black experience or racism, you should hire Black people to do it, and you should pay them for, like, so. Right. She was not saying anything that is not, like, true and should be broadly accepted. And then like, they're trying to use that as evidence for why she is being racist against them, and thus Disney should take her off of everything. Like, the thing though
is like, you can't say that white people aren't racist, and the way that you prove your point is by being racist. If you're going to say that white people are not racist and then you harass a person with racism, you're proving the point. You've proved
by
the point
calling them racial slurs.
It's and so this whole thing mirrors an incident that happened, I don't know what time is, 2 weeks ago, I think it was, with the Critical Bard also being harassed as well. There is a long history of this kind of harassment, and Bounding into Comics has fostered a community of toxicity, has fostered a community of people that have grievances against people and communities and marginalized communities. And I think that if you truly believe in inclusivity, truly believe in diversity, you have an obligation to exercise those people out of the community, because their goal overall is to destroy it. They don't want to have good games. They don't want to have better, things in tabletop. They don't want to have better Star Wars content. Their goal is that if they have to share it with other people that they don't like, then they will destroy the whole thing and nobody can have fun. And that doesn't serve anybody. So this whole thing was so sick. I'm really happy that people came up to defend her, because as a person in the industry myself, who I also have a history on Twitter, like, you can at me. I've also said these same things on Twitter. Watching that go down, it was really terrifying for me, right? Because I'm just like, and I'm afraid of achieving certain levels in my career, because I'm afraid that one day the same type of thing may happen to me. If I get to a certain level, if I achieve certain goals in my life, will I also have to be afraid for my life because of the fact that one day I might become the target of these communities? And that is every single creator of color, every single trans creator. We all live with that fear every single day of our lives, to either be silenced and marginalized further, and to make ourselves smaller so that we can try to live in relative comfort and ease, or to speak our truth and risk this kind of harassment. And I also have to say, the targeted harassment against her child was particularly
that's gross.
to me.
Yeah.
And the idea that you're trying to prove your point, that you're not a bad person by targeting a child, I think there's something I need for us as a country to get healthcare together, because I need for y'all to get help, because there's something inside of you that desperately needs help. So this whole thing was I'll be very honest with y'all, like a little traumatizing for me to watch all this stuff happen, knowing that this is something that happens to women of color all the time, every day on the internet. And for what? Because of the fact that she was like, I'm tired of watching people die. I'm tired of watching Black people be killed.
Well, I think an important thing too is like, it's not about what she said. Like that, they don't care what she said.
Yeah.
If she was a Black woman who was in that prominent position and that publicly successful, and she hadn't said any of those things, then they would have found a different thing to tear into her about. Like, it is just fuel for an unrelated fire. And like, it's staggering that, you know, you have to kind of operate in an industry with that fear hanging over you of, do I kind of contribute to my own marginalization almost to be safe, or do I try to go be successful and break it? And like, that's not a struggle we should be leaving Black women specifically, or anybody, to fight on their own, because like, that's just going to keep tearing through people and ruining them. You know, the rest of us actually have to go do something about it, so that those people feel comfortable joining us in the industry when we say, we want you to sit down at the table and play this game with us.
Yeah, that's true. You know, because it's really, when we talk about diversity in gaming, you know, we as people of color, we've noticed the history, right? We've been here the whole time. And so to just say, okay, well, we want you guys at the table now. It's like, well, what have you done before this, you know? And this whole section of games just leads to a culture that is, it's not fun for anybody. You know, gaming is better when we are all sitting at the table. And Krystina, this girl has done so much. She's been doing this stuff for years, and is so fun, is so nice, and so sweet, and so talented. Her cosplay is amazing. Like, I don't know. The whole thing really made me sick. So what I'm saying, what I'm pleading for people is that if you see this kind of targeted harassment, that you speak out, that you tag these people, that you report the tweets.
Report them to Twitter.
And that you do everything that you can. It's such a small action that you could do. And also when her TV show comes out, that you watch her TV show, because like, also support her and support what she does, and every time that she's playing games, because she's great. And the whole thing just made me very sad. So.
I do have to say that I did actually go through and report a number of like the accounts that were popping up that were engaged in this. And like, on the one hand, you know, good, Twitter had some tools to report it. Great. We'll see what happens. But on the other hand, like, Twitter would have this thing where it's like, thank you for reporting that tweet. Would you like to tag any other related tweets that show the same behavior? And it would list like 5 super racist tweets. And I'm like, if your algorithm can figure out these other tweets to suggest for me to tag, could you just do it? Like,
yeah. And I have to say, it was particularly frustrating for me because of the fact that when I was tagging people and that stuff would pop up, you know, the idea that the algorithm could find that. But when I made my own tweet saying that these people are racist, I got a 12-hour ban.
Yeah.
So it's like, so the algorithm can see my tweet and see that you're talking about some hot button stuff, you get a ban. But then also recognize these racist things and be like, well, if no one has a problem with it, then we're just going to leave it alone.
That algorithm thing has had a really weird effect on, I saw it most prominently in TikToks, because I was watching some TikToks that would come up. My wife would send me a bunch or whatever. And like, a lot of people will put the text of what they're saying on there so people can read it. Great. But they will intentionally misspell or use synonyms or whatever else. Like, my personal favorite is, you know, you don't say that we're in a pandemic, you say we're in a panorama. Or we're in Panama or whatever else. Like, there's this
a pan pizza. That's my
like, there's just this weird, like, it kind of reminds me of the most whimsical Cockney rhyming slang, but you're doing it not because like we're, you know, in a culture together. You're doing it because you want to say a thing, but get around the algorithm that is going to suppress the thing. That's a very weird, extremely online cultural thing that I find fascinating.
I mean, I will also say, having gone through a lot of these tweets and reporting them, one of the most frustrating things is that they don't use the words, you know, especially the bigger accounts. They don't use the words. They just microaggressions. Just like the word, they'll say something that's not even reportable. You know, it's just like, they won't even say like that you're racist or something. They'll be like, you know, it's like, oh, so you can just say this about white people. Like, how do you report that? Like, that's not a reportable thing, but you know, like I know, having seen this thing, I know exactly what they're saying. And all of the tweets are just treading that line. So, which is almost more infuriating because they're supporting this whole culture. They're supporting the people who will say the words of it. It's like, it doesn't even matter what the words are. It's like, I know what your intention was for these things.
And that's the thing, is like, they know the words and the language to use in order to convey the same sort of a thing. And if you're doing this kind of racist harassment, you know the language to use so that on the surface it doesn't look like you're being racist, but the intention is still there. And that's what it's a constant battle, you know, to try to constantly be like, okay, well, they're not going to use these words because these words get flagged. So then they'll just substitute it with this kind of a language. And it does feel like they're constantly one step ahead of us, because
there are plenty of racists who are not even going to put like that much effort into any semblance of respectability and are just going to go straight to the classic slurs too.
Right. But I mean, I feel like bounding into comics and that subset, all they do is think about these things. That's all they do, is like foster in their little hovel holes about how horrible they can be and how they can best target people that for whatever reason are the target of their ire. And it just and
that's why I say, like, as white people, what we can do is go in there, report the stuff that's obviously reportable, report the stuff, like, because you look at the stuff like, how can I find, because you know it, you feel it, you know, like this person is being attacked. Like, it can be complicated or confusing to say like, well, how do I take action on this thing? Because they'll see it and they'll be like, oh, somebody will see it wasn't that bad. Like, I know it's that bad. Report them anyways, and block them too. Like, show them, like, surface these things. Like, don't let any of those behaviors stand, because even like letting the like, oh, maybe, you know, the both sidesism is just as bad. And I think like we really have to take a hard stance to, because it's a disease that's in our industry, and letting even the borderline stuff pass by is letting it all in.
Yeah, and she could have lost her job. You know, I think that in another world, in another situation, that Disney would have been like, actually, you're way too hot. You know, like this is too much, and we're gonna let you go to hire somebody that is less controversial. And that, to me, you know, the fact that we're even having this conversation, to me, shows that there's progress that's been made. But I do really, you know, want to reiterate what you guys have said, is that like, it takes all of us, because if it was just Black women, I think she would have just lost her job. It really took a cross section of multiple groups of people, particularly white people, to raise the profile of this and to say that we do not support this. We will tag the people who have been harassing her. And that's really important. I think that people sort of seeing this stuff and being like, oh my God, that's horrible, I don't support it either way, that's not anti-racism. Anti-racism is an action. It's you are actively undoing the harms of racism. And so that's something that, like, I have a conversation with people a lot who are like, well, I'm not a racist, but it's like, yes, but are you anti-racist? Those are two different kind of conversations. And so that was really incredible to see the way that the community came together. And, you know, it happened over, I think it was 2 days. I was watching it happen in live time, and it was just horrific. And I can't imagine what she was going through. I can't imagine just sitting there for those first 12 hours just watching all that hate pour in. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an individual and you're like, how do I help with this? Like, there's a couple pretty concrete things you can start with. One, go follow some marginalized people. Like, chances are you'll find someone who clicks with your personality or your interest, whatever, and follow some of them. And then when they say stuff, try to do it or try to retweet them, try to like spread their message. And then when you see people like straight up being racist or harassing or misogynist or whatever it is, report those people. If they're people that you know, like tell them why it's not a good thing. Like if we just all started there, then I think all the people who have maybe good intentions but are ill, like the people who could be saved can be saved by their friends. And the people who can't be saved can be cut out of the community, and then the community will be much healthier for those who are left.
And even just saying the things, there was a hashtag, I think it was I Stand with Krystina. There's a couple of other hashtags. Like the thing is, it's tough because you're not going to get a gold star for it. Some people are like, oh, well, I do this and it's not enough. Like, it's not enough, you know, like there is a bigger problem, but it's something, you know, if you just say just the hashtag, I stand with Krystina, I don't support these people attacking these creators, even no matter the smallest account, because that's going to pop up on one of your friends' feeds and they're going to see it like, oh, this is a problem. Like everyone's saying this, you know? So like, even if you can just do one statement when you see the thing happen, you know, it helps.
But yeah, just empathize with people, realize where you're coming from, what privileges you might have, raise voices of marginalized people instead of talking over them. And then also realize historically, it's only been 50 years since like all the bans from segregation have been, at least for America. And a lot of times it's still a lot of problems in a lot of parts of the world. And once we recognize, empathize, and then see the world from another person's point of view, then we can start making changes for the positive. But yes, so let's go ahead and have that time to think about it. I feel like this should be something that one day we could take as a main topic and then like really get in depth with this subject. And that would be something
someday will not be a main topic. It will not be a weekly report on harassment.
Yeah, maybe it won't be. So that's what we want.
Break? Just a solid like 30 days of no racism. Can we just please get it?
No racism 30-day challenge.
Please. Yes. White people, please start that in 2021. The no racism challenge. Please.
There you go. Well, let's go ahead and go on to some things to look forward to from that. So, Derek, tell me your bundle bones.
That's a bob. That's
yeah, right.
That was good.
So we have 3 bundles this week. You need to like release an album on Spotify at some point of just like the collected jingles of Bonsai. But anyway,
jingles and segues.
Yep. So we've got 3 bundles to go through very quickly. Humble Bundle has one this week that's a 5th edition Dungeon Extravaganza, and it's not a lot of material that I'm personally familiar with, but it's basically just $415 worth of adventures, maps, adventures hooks, tokens, resources, things like that. There is not one, but there is 2 just list of tavern names. So I have a feeling that if I just said that, there's somebody out there who's like, oh yeah, I love that shit. Then you have got a bundle for you.
Oh, I did. When you said that, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to read that.
There's List of Taverns 1, List of Taverns Volume 2, The Greatest Hits. So if you just want a ton of material for 5th edition, you need a bunch of adventures, you need a bunch of adventure ideas, there's going to be a bunch of stuff here for you. And it's Humble Bundle, so you know you're always helping out a good cause too. And then in addition to that, there are 2 bundles that are up on itch.io. The first one I find is a fascinating bundle because this is the layout level up. And some of you may have heard that Affinity, like designer and publisher and a couple like that, Affinity is like this like family of programs that are a lot of people have positioned as like an independent scaled personal use scale kind of alternative to a lot of Adobe Creative Suite. So instead of using InDesign, people are like, hey, try out Affinity Publisher. It's much cheaper. It might work well for everything that you need. So this bundle in particular just flat out says, hey, every 2 bundles of this that we sell, we are is going to buy a license for a creator who is marginalized, is poor, is whatever. Like basically just you buy these, you help some other creator get this program who needs it to go make their own games. It's $20. You get 67 different games. The 3 that stood out the most to me were Pig Smoke, which is basically Powered by the Apocalypse Harry Potter without the Harry Potter IP, which is challenging for some people right now. There's also For the Dungeon, which is another Powered by the Apocalypse game, but the twist is that you're playing the minions who are in the dungeon. So you play the kobolds who go out and raid the town and then run back to the caves, and the adventurers chase you. And then there's also the, showing up everywhere, everyone's favorite, 1,000-Year-Old Vampire. So $20 gets you those 3 plus 64 other games. And every 2 bundles gets somebody out there a license for the software, which is great.
So how tall is this 1,000-Year-Old Vampire?
He's 1,000 years old.
But how tall?
1,000 years old.
I think,
I feel like they would be kind of short
because growing, so
no, but like you stop growing at a certain time.
How
so
sexy is this vampire?
I think that it's permitted to be as sexy as you want. So if you really need,
I just realized the question.
Thank you, Emma.
Proportioned vampire.
It took me a really long time too. I was like, Emma, what don't you understand?
I misheard it first, but the moment she said how tall, I was like,
that's
oh my gosh. Can't take you kids anywhere. So the other itch bundle is another kind of pleasantly specific charity, and this is for Croatian earthquake relief. I saw some of this pop up in the news, but it didn't seem to get a ton of traction. But apparently Croatia had a 6.2 magnitude earthquake at the end of December. There were like 120 aftershocks over the next week or two. And over 2,000 houses need to be rebuilt in this region that I will in no way be able to pronounce. So they're putting together a bundle. Everything is going to go benefit a charity that's specifically working on that. It's $25 for 39 games. And the 2 that leapt out to me the most were Impulse Drive, which I'm pretty sure I backed on Kickstarter. And I would summarize as a queer Powered by the Apocalypse Star Trek kind of thing. And then Zoa Into the Wastelands is an ultraviolet grasslands expansion. So, again, Itch is a great place to go for independent, weird, new games. These are 2 bundles that with very specific kind of charities that you could get a bunch of stuff for a total of $45 together. And it would kind of give you a nice cross-section of what's out there on Itch. So I recommend checking them out both.
Very, very cool. And now from those bundles that we have, of course, all going to very charitable reasons. So that's another reason why you should back it for the love of nerdom and for good cause. Now we can go ahead and go to our what we're going to spend money on this week. Kickstarter Queen.
I keep forgetting that you have that. I keep being like, you have special effects? Oh, yeah.
It's so beautiful sound.
It is such a good sound. Yeah.
Got it from a Ren fair.
I remember
really
those.
Yeah,
Miss those.
Yeah.
All right, Isabella, what do you want to share with us?
Oh, right. It's my turn. Sorry. I got real sad thinking about Ren fairs. So I've got Dungeon Delvers. This is 4 days left. This is 32 millimeter, not milligrams. That is not, I'm sorry. I'm from America. RPG miniatures in cast resin. Or you can also buy the, not codes. What is it called?
Files.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yes, but to put that in human terms.
The 3D renders?
No, but the like,
Maddox?
The graphs, the sheets.
Maps?
the printables.
Yeah, the 3D printed, the 3D renders. Yeah.
No, but you can buy the files.
Ah!
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I didn't get it either. There.
We got there in the end.
Chat helped us out.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
like
files.
the STL files.
Yeah.
Files.
I love your synonyms though.
You. So in order to be able to print these things at home, these little guys are super cute. I saw that there was a sexy mouse lady, and I was like, I'll sign up for that.
So you want your sexy really tall or really small is what I'm hearing.
She
Yes.
wants sexy everything. Equal opportunity sexiness.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be a standard. Equal opportunity sexiness for all.
Absolutely. Quarantine's been very long for me.
Okay.
So
Wait, so if I say gadget to you, how does that?
don't make me a furry. Don't
There-
help me like that. Don't do that. Okay. I've been watching actually a lot of DuckTales on Disney Plus. Please don't do this to me. Don't out me. So they have a bunch of really cool miniatures, and there's a whole bunch of different levels that you can use. I'm sorry, my brain is kaputs. There's Mouse Folk, which I think is really cool, and then the Frogkin Army, which is also really cool because I feel like we don't talk enough about frogs. There's also Dark Dwarvens. Sorry, my computer is slow. Monsters of the Deep, and then what I'm assuming is Funganite. Funganite. Yes, I think that's maybe how that's pronounced. So yeah, these look really cute. They look really cool. If you like painting miniatures with your time in Quarantina, then I suggest checking them out. Dungeon Delvers with 4 days left. Also check out the sexy little mouse one. She's got legs. Sexy little mouse legs.
Does she know how to use them? So, with 6 days left, it's a song.
There.
Sexy little mouse legs, and I know how to use them. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my favorite B-52 song.
With 6 days left, there is Aco Dice 3 Dragonstone. And like, this is a little bittersweet for me now, because now that I know I have to move real quick, I decided to cancel my pledge for this just because this is a luxury. I know it hurts me, but like, this is a dice company that had a couple other Kickstarters, and I got a number of their metal dice off of, and I really liked them. And this is kind of a neat package deal where you get like 10 metal dice all in pairs of 5 colors. There's like red, purple, green, black, stuff like that. They all have like a scaly texture, they call it. It's kind of just geometric, but it's neat. And the box they come in is magnetic and disassembles and reassembles into the dice tower to use for them. So it's pretty neat all around. And like, there's some game that comes with it too or something, whatever. I just want the dice.
Yeah.
But like, they definitely had a couple Kickstarters that I backed. Like there was a Cyberpunk dice Kickstarter they backed, or that they put up, that I backed just so I would have a bunch of different colored pairs of dice to play Cyberpunk Powered by the Apocalypse games with my friends, so that I could be like, hey guys, let's all play. I bought you special dice. So this one I think is pretty cool, pretty neat. And if you like dice, if you like metal dice, I recommend it.
I can confirm. These dice are pretty sexy.
And
That's my thing. That's my thing is the dice. Okay?
And they look weaponizable, so I also approve.
Anything where they're reinterpreting how to display the numbers on the faces of the D6, I think is really cool.
I think it's really cool. It skirts the boundary of, is this dice legible and actually usable? But I think it's still usable, which is why I like it.
Usable. For looking great on my windowsill?
No, for rolling for the purposes of playing a game. Anyway,
yeah, I don't do that.
I really like the style. Check it out.
All right, up next we have Button Shy Wallet Games reprint campaign 2021 with 8 days left, ending Saturday, February 6th. If you have somehow not yet heard about Button Shy Wallet Games, which I'd be extremely surprised because I talk about it on a fairly frequent basis, these are exactly as the picture shows. These are games that will fit into a plastic wallet, which is how they are shipped and delivered. 18 card games, that's the game. You see somebody holding it up there, the entire game fits in there. And what's really cool about it is Jason Tagmeyer goes out of his way to create diversity of gameplay mechanics. Like all of these games are very different from each other. The art is all very different. I played a game that I think was designed by a 7 or 8 year old and her dad, where you flipped the cards off the edge of the table. There's storytelling games, there's 2-player games, there's party games. There's so many different styles of games and so many different aesthetics in here, which is what I love about it. What's cool too, I looked at the campaign the other day and there were fewer games in the reprint campaign and now there's more. So they're adding on games over time, depending on how excited people get. The way that they usually distribute these games is they have a subscription service. So you can actually subscribe to this and get a new game every month, which is super cool. And then they do semi-regular Kickstarters for the game. And they do these reprint campaigns so that you can get the games that you might have missed out on. Some of the ones that are included in this particular campaign are Ahead in the Clouds by Daniel Newman, Arcane Bakery Clash by Robin Gibson, Seasons of Rice by Corey Dammy, Smoke and Mirrors by Chip Beauvais, Super Tall by Nat Levin, and Why I Otter by Aaron Andrew Wilson. That one was a pun. So just a lot of different types of games available here. You can have 20 or 30 or 40 of these games in your quiver, carrying them around. Again, for the future when we go in the world again, but a lot of them are also, there's some solo games and playable with smaller player counts as well. So playable now, playable in the future, something I very much support and love to promote.
Very, very cool. And now for those who, for when we can get to back to being together times before the separation times, but this is for a thing for together times that will happen in the future. With 8 days left, Saturday, February 6th, Mystic Libations, Critical Cocktails. It is basically a from the minds of Trader Brandon and Todd Stashwick from Nerd Circus. This is like based off of their like home games that they have, like their tradition. They kind of want to spread this kind of like fun tradition to other people, where they would like make a different themed cocktail every time they would play, and someone would bring like, hey, new like cocktail drinks. This one happens to be a book of 100 and plus cocktails and mocktails for those who do not drink alcohol or not old enough yet, for tabletop gaming. I like nerd themed cookbooks. I like nerd themed things. And if we could just like fuse these together and have like our own LARP session in a bard or in a bar. No, yes. In the taverns. That's what I was thinking of. We can have our own make-believe taverns. And this is kind of like echoing that fact. So the drinks are fantasy themed with a twist, a tiki twist, which is, from my understanding, fruit-based libations. And it's just it seems like a fun idea, especially if you happen to be, because I know there are different game groups have different house rules, but if you happen to be more of a beer and pretzel type of gaming group, this is a great idea. And you know, it just starts a fun new tradition at the table where you guys can, like, you know, it's not so serious. You have fun. It's just hanging out with your friends, playing board games. And it just seems like a really cool idea. I also just like fantasy themed foods and fantasy themed restaurants. Why can't I live in Japan? And that's all I have to say.
So you're going to back that so that I can find out if any of those mocktails are good?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. I had to I had to stop myself from actually getting so basically I had people convince me not to buy the Dungeons and Dragons cookbook. But I was like, but I kind of want Dungeons and Dragons cookbook, but no.
I've got a bunch of World of Darkness cookbooks for you. Don't worry.
Ooh. All right. But yes, libations. Mystic Libations, 8 days left.
Well, the next project I want to talk about is Svalbard, I assume. It has 8 days left. And anytime you tell me that you have a horror, possibly Lovecraft, but mainly like horror-themed one-shot self-contained RPG adventure extravaganza, I am extremely interested, and I want to check it out. And this one Also brings in roguelike and references Edge of Tomorrow, which I also enjoyed a great deal. So the whole thing is that the player characters are supposed to die. They're supposed to die repeatedly, and it resets them back at the start of this scenario or trap or whatever plan that they Elder God Azathoth has or whatever they're trying to unfold. But a whole lot of it is the players are supposed to figure out what they need to do to fix the situation, and they need to figure out the most efficient way to do it, because the mechanics all revolve around like time units, like how long does it take to accomplish something. So I really like that it's kind of doing the Edge of Tomorrow thing. If anybody read the novel it was based on or watched the movie, there's definitely like we're gonna, we need to beat this test. I die, I reset in time every time I die. So I'm just going to try a whole bunch of different ways, or I'm going to figure out what it is that I need to do to finally get past this thing. And it's kind of a neat spin to do the same thing in a tabletop game. Because a lot of people are like, I would love to do a game that has a lot of player death, but then what do you do about player knowledge and metagaming and stuff? Apparently the answer here is they're just in a time loop, so have fun with it. So it's a Lovecraftian or mythos kind of inspired Arctic sandbox location thing that I'm really intrigued by. It seems like the perfect thing to like pack at a con and just kind of cart around and play the same campaign with different players many times, just see how different people tackle it. So 8 days left. Svalbard.
Cool. Last but not least, we have Kleck polyhedral metal dice set inspired by a caged jail. 10 days left, ending Monday, February 8th. A dice restrained in a cage. Roll to unleash its power. There's not too much I can say about this. Just look at the pictures and how cool those dice are. And they appear legible, too. If you want to use them, I guess you can probably do that. They come in a metal cage. So the dice is in a little cage, and the little cage is in a big cage, and it's all metal. And
Emma, we heard you like cages.
I just like, so I've seen dice like this where the inner dice is actually loose, which is kind of cool, although the rollings can be a little weird, I think. These ones aren't loose. The inner dice, just like a little, just mostly for the aesthetic of it. I just like dice that look different than the dice that I already have. And anytime I see a dice like, oh, that's a spicy new dice, I get excited about it. Now, I just want to collect them all, okay? I just want to collect every different type of dice. Speaking of which, I was looking at, do you know that they have thimble display? Do you know people collect thimbles, first of all? And they have thimble display cases, and they look perfect for displaying dice. You hang it up. It's like a glass window, and it's not very deep. So you like put all for Lego minifigures or anything you collect, you can just fill it with dice. And now that is my new.
Haven't we talked about knick-knack cabinets?
I don't think so. Not like it's super. It's like an inch deep. So
Yeah, yeah. Those are all over New England. You get little knick-knack cabinets.
I didn't know this was a thing, and now I know it. And now I want to buy these dice and every other dice and all my dice that I have and put them in there. And I don't have a lot of wall space for it, but I want to figure out a way to make this happen.
Accent
and
wall.
You should too.
Just sacrifice an accent wall just dedicated to filling it up. Instead of painting a different one, you just put a whole wall of dice.
Oh my gosh, just the whole wall.
It's an accent wall, a very nice accent wall. And it will only take an inch off of you, because if it's an inch, you could just place it there. And so imagine your square foot space and divide that by inches.
Oh, it's genius.
Like I do woodworking and design and stuff.
It's going to happen. Might be years from now, but it's a dice accent wall that's just all dice. Oh, I'm so excited.
But yes. So just exciting things. Look at the Kickstarter. Look at all the pretty stuff. But unfortunately, friends, that is all for Kickstarters, all for TableTakes. But wait, don't leave, because there's still Gen Con TV is more than just TableTakes. We also have a whole slew of schedules, and we have something exciting happening in February. So let's go ahead. Yes, February. So starting Monday, 6 p.m., board games with the Brothers Murph. Wednesday, we have 1:30. This game gets dicey. And then, of course, Friday, 2 p.m., TableTakes. That's going to roll over into starting at 4 p.m. This is all Pacific Standard Time. Heart RPG. And slowly, as we hype up during next week, you're going to be revealing on who is going to be part of that campaign. Because I'm actually not too sure if we're supposed to reveal who's doing it, but
Sure, sounds, yeah, we'll slowly reveal it. Yeah.
Slowly. Yeah. We're going to do like that TikTok house reveal, but except it's going to be Gen Con table or heart RPG reveal.
Yeah, so anybody who's a fan of horror, dungeon delving, body horror, all the kind of stuff that usually excites me, should tune in.
Yeah. And then, folks, don't forget, hey, if you miss TableTakes Live or any of the Gen Con stuff that you are craving for, don't worry. All of this stuff that we have here live on Twitch will be transferred over after 24 hours to YouTube. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you can get us all your Gen Con needs. Also, if you want to go ahead and connect with fellow Gen Conians, gonna make it thing, just join our Discord and have a conversation with us, because we are humans and we like to talk. We have discussions. Let's do that. And also, thank you all for joining us today, hanging out, having these discussions, and all stuff. So thank you to Warcraft Movie Fan 8754449, all the numbers, and also Isabella, the Ghost, and Grim Derek for joining us, and also behind the scenes, Marcos. And I hope you guys have a lovely weekend. Wash your hands, cover your face, and be kind to other people, please.
Please.
Yeah. Dab.